Okay, we're on air. All right. It's only a few days before the first test for party politics come knocking. The nominations for different elective seats is bound to generate interest locally and nationally. There are some interesting battleground and mouth-watering seats to look out for, but also the rules of nominations this time around makes for fascinating debate. It is fast consensus, opinion polls for some before the full universal coverage for others. Now, as parties come to terms with the sheer magnitude of handling these upcoming nominations. With all due respect tonight, we'll argue it out with Narok County Senator Ole Kina, karibu to the program, and Nandi County Senator Cherargei. But first, let's take a look at what was said today in the Jubilee headquarters, where women were campaigning for tickets. Let's take a listen.
And we have no apologies to make when we say, as a party, we support women also in terms of party materials and resources. So don't also have a fear factor that I'm really good and I'm being heard, but I wonder whether we'll make. After the Jubilee nominations and after you are the candidate, akiuliza mimi na Sabina, saa ile utakosa pesa ya campaign. Tuulize.
We are starting our campaign to mashinani. Kila county, kila sub-county, paka polling stations. And we are reviving the Jubilee Women's Movement League. Strong women tujue jeshi yetu kwa kila polling station. Who is our woman? A true Jubilee woman.
Well, that is the context of this evening conversation, the party nominations. Let's start where we should. Cherargei, these questions of direct tickets, opinion polls, universal suffrage, where does your side of the coalition sit, and what do you personally prefer?
Thank you, Smart, for inviting me to, with all due respect, I think it's been long since I was here. First of all, I want to say good evening to the viewers. I believe work you can start off as United Democratic Alliance. You know, many people don't know that in a nomination process, there can be consensus, there can be the nomination itself, there can be agreement by candidates, and you have seen as UDA, for example, in Kakamega under Kenya Kwanza, you saw Senator Boni Khalwale ceding way for Senator Malala to run for governor and senator respectively. You have seen also in Narok, where my brother comes from, where Tongoyo, Soipan, and Lemain have given way for CS, former CS Patrick Olentutu to run for governor. So apart from direct issuance of direct ticket, is possible where there are consensus that have been built. So as UDA, the data has been given on 14 April. Some of us who are defending our seats, for example, myself defending the Senate seat, will be going to the nomination. But where situations, consensus, then direct tickets has been issued. And I've seen also ODM, I saw yesterday or the other day, they were saying that most of the aspirants, their money has been refunded. So I don't know whether Senator Ledama, his nomination fees has been refunded, because I saw they were using what we call opinion polls to try and gauge who is a strong candidate and therefore through consensus. And it is, but that is also a threat to democracy, because when I saw the party leader of ODM issuing a direct ticket to Butere, is it Butere, member of parliament in Mwale in a rally, I thought there is a more neater way of doing such.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nama, from your side of things, are there direct tickets being issued?
I don't really think I should be the one to answer that question. I think that question should be answered by the National Election Board. But I think if you ask me generally what I think about nominations, then I'll be able to respond. Generally speaking, anything to do when it comes to party affairs, the party is best suited to be able to determine the best way to win an election. Because elections in some counties are won at the nomination stage. Elections in some counties are won based on the strategy that you put up place. Democracy is what dictates. If you ask me what is in our constitution as a party, we have different ways in which we can be able to put forward a candidate to be able to contest in any elective position.
Right.
One of them is, of course, through consensus. We also use scientific polls to be able to determine who is stronger than the other person. And these scientific polls are a little bit more extensive. They're not just as basic as if Smart versus Ole Kina, who has more people, in a contest. When you and I are in the same political party and we have Senator Cherargei in a different political party, the best way for any political party to be able to carry out its nomination is to be able to weigh the candidates who have shown an interest in any particular seat vis-a-vis the opponents, but not the two candidates who are for the same party. I know in our political party we have, of course, some individuals who have been given direct tickets. The dynamics of this year's elections are very different in the sense that if you look at our coalition partners, we have about, I think, 25 political parties that are supporting the Azimio movement. And of course, our main opponents, UDA. So we have to be guarded in terms of how we proceed with our nomination exercise, because we want to ensure that the candidates we put forward to contest in the upcoming general elections are candidates who will be able to assist us win more political seats.
The question then that comes about zoning, which has been mentioned by other political parties, and how then does that work in spaces like, say, Nairobi, for instance?
Okay.
How would that work?
I think, generally speaking, and I want to be, or maybe hypothetically, if you look at a situation like Nairobi, the first question to ask is, who has always won Nairobi? If it is a member of parliament for Embakasi East, who is the strongest candidate there? If you look at the person who has always won there, it's ODM. So I think in a more democratic space, you would consider to zone that area, but that would be one candidate for that particular movement. When we amended the political parties bill, and we came up with the Political Parties Amendment Act, if you look at section 2(1)(b), it clearly defines a coalition political party as a political party. So that means that in the next coming election, a coalition political party can appear in the ballot. Because the way it is right now, even though you're in a coalition, previously, if you're in a coalition, it is ODM which will appear, but not Azimio. But we've made room such that it can be possible for Azimio to be in the political party, even if you are the ODM candidate, and maybe you've chosen to zone out an area for Jubilee, then I think it will appear as Azimio. All right. Yes.
How does that work for you, for your side of the bargain?
I think, these political amendments will destroy big parties. Now, for example, as in Kenya Kwanza, is that one of the challenges, even as the signing of coalition agreements, is the zoning that we have agreed. And I agree with him that it will continue to be the biggest challenge to any political parties. What will happen is that these dominant political parties will have a smaller space to operate as opposed to smaller political parties who are under coalition, because it will something like a friendly fire. Because, for example, in Sierra today, I've seen new developments where you're having some aspirants have moved to UDM. ODM will have its own candidates. The tickets are being issued, for example. So at the end of the day, it will affect, and that is why you will have a mosaic representation at parliament, where you will have small parties are eating into the dominant parties.
Isn't that good for democracy, though?
It is good, but the problem at the end of the day, it is not as good as it should be, because now you will be having a commemoration. And I have argued before that when you look at Azimio, for example, which has over 25 small parties, they are a threat to democracy in the essence that Smart is that most of these parties have been formed as regional, tribal, and they have been done at State House. And that has been our contention, where you remember DAPK, they were called, can you make a party, but make sure it is owned within Western Kenya. Another party, you have heard even the president has said Jubilee now is no longer a national party, but a Mount Kenya party. So in other words, it reduces political parties from ideology to parties that are tribally or regionally patronage. And I think, and this can be blamed squarely on Azimio, because they are the generators of these small parties that are more tribal
but
and
you have
regional.
small parties as well in yours.
But that is why I'm saying for ANC and Ford Kenya,
What is the measure?
small parties.
What is the measure of a big party versus a small party?
For example, a small party like DAPK in somewhere in Bungoma, where the MP decided and they are doing, even you know, when you want to know about a small political party, is their main activities, they normally do it in, for example, in Bungoma, or even their political party headquarters is somewhere in a village somewhere. But what we are just saying, and I think that is what is important under political parties, is that it must adopt a national character. And that is the reason some of us oppose the political parties amendment. Because now parties will no longer be ideological. So if I think ODM is no longer popular in Western Kenya, I bring DAPK. But that DAPK is under ODM. But it is ODM in another color, and that is what my brother succeeded in doing by changing the law. But they will be the biggest casualties, because I suspect most of the seats, just like, for example, as I conclude, for example, in Kisumu County, somebody like Olako Oluwaj and Shakil Shabir were elected through independent tickets. You know why? Because now there was room on how you can exit from the hot political. So now what will happen in, for example, where ODM has enjoyed monopoly of seats, like, for example, Kisumu County, somebody will go to UDM, run because he's under Azimio, which means ODM will lose. And that is the argument we tried to put when we were discussing and debating the political parties. I know Ladama might not notice now, but also it helps, by the way, people like Ladama, for example, because I know, and I've said in the show somewhere, and I told somebody who is a good friend of mine, that the ODM ticket, maybe, for example, in Narok County for Senate, has gone to somebody. But now, courtesy of political amendments party,
how would you know that?
Now, I know, you know, some of us, smart, we are in politics, and some of us know what is happening. For example,
so you know more about what's happening in ODM than Ledama would know?
I'm giving you because all of us are political players.
Okay.
So, for example, the ODM ticket for Senate seat in Narok is already gone.
It's been given
so political parties amendment will allow, my brother, by the way, is a good brother of mine, we share a lot, will now allow him to move to UDM or any other political party that's under Azimio. And mark my words.
I did not know, Ledama, that your ticket has been given elsewhere.
Let's put it this way. You know, me, I don't believe in politics. I believe in facts. You know, we're in a political environment right now. My brother Cherargei is welcome to make any sort of accusations or whatever. ODM is a democratic party. And let me correct it. There's no one who has been given a ticket apart from the few people who were given direct tickets. We believe in nomination, and we have different ways in which we're going to carry nomination. I still believe, and I know this, I'm surprised that he knows more than I do, that even the gubernatorial seat, where we only have one candidate in Narok, he hasn't been given a ticket, you know? So the time will come when the party will make that decision and give, you know, and give tickets based on scientific polls, based on consensus, or based on nomination.
But there's a point here that the Azimio coalition with all these 25 parties has created a mess of itself.
No, it hasn't. Let me actually respond to that. I think, let me repeat again, we're in a democratic country where everyone wants to be part of the bigger national cake. If you feel that your interest will be taken more by you coming together and forming a political party that takes care of the interest of your area, so be it. Ultimately, over time, you will also be given an opportunity to grow and be able to spread into the entire country. ODM, when ODM started, it didn't start as a political party that's, you know, that spread across the whole country. It started from one region, and slowly by slowly. And now ODM is the largest political party we have in Kenya. So I believe that come August 9th, general election, Azimio will have its candidate.
Okay.
Okay? If those candidates would have been, chosen through zoning or direct ticket or consensus, we will have candidates who will be ready to win the election and form the next government. So that is an arrangement. We already prepared the law. So there's no way that you can come and tell me, now that I'm part of this political coalition political party, I'm no longer going to support you in business. You know, we have to be able to be loyal to a political party. So really, there are things that you've got to look at. When you talk about giving out a direct ticket, you look at several things. And I hope that every political party out there will look at it. Number one, they will look at the loyalty. They will look at the consistency. They will look at your ability to be able to rally more people to your political party. You know, it's not just a matter of saying, oh, the ODM ticket for Senate has been given to somebody else for Narok. No. I mean, that's really a lot of hogwash. You know, the truth is that no one has been given that that has been given that ticket, really. So for us,
you're confident.
I'm very confident, of course, because I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying for the sake of it. And that would be okay. You know, if my political party feels that I cannot do a better job and they feel like someone else can do a much better job, it's their prerogative. Remember, a political party can withdraw your candidature. If you look at the law, even after the nomination, the political party might decide, you know what, James Smart, we are not going to field in a candidate.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the 25 political parties. What I'm worried about is the strategy to be able to defeat UDA, to ensure that we form the next government. That, to me, is what is most important for me. I'm not worried about nominations. Every political party, let's carry out their nominations. But ultimately, after each and every political party has carried out its nomination in the Azimio movement, I would hope that our political party or our coalition will now sit down together and say, okay, here we are. We have carried out all the nominations. Jubilee, how many candidates do you have? We have X number of candidates. How many, like for instance, in Kajiado, as an example, how many candidates do you have for governor? We have one. For Senate, we have one. ODM, how many do you have? One and one. Then, of course, nothing stops Jubilee or ODM from withdrawing a candidate. You know, and so saying that we will not sponsor this, we will sponsor this person, because you belong to a political party. You subscribe to the constitution of that political party, you know. So you are bound by the rules of that political party. So you cannot come and dictate and say that I must get into the ballot. If you want to go all the way to the ballot, then by all means either form your own political party and don't join any coalition, or go in as an independent candidate. That's it.
Cherargei.
I think it's good to. Now, you know, Ladama is a deep state in Azimio.
No.
And, you know, I've seen people defecting from Azimio to Azimio. But now he has lifted a lead which is dangerous.
Yep.
And that is a threat to democracy by saying, for example, in Kajiado, you currently have the current governor, has defected from Jubilee to ODM.
Yes.
You have the former governor has defected from ODM to Jubilee in Gedienye. And when now Ledama is, I think it's a threat to democracy, where when you have, for example, the former governor and the current governor running, where ODM, for example, will tell its candidate to withdraw. I think that is a threat to democracy, and you are even threatening Article 38 on political rights that have been provided under the Constitution 2010. Because then what is the essence of us doing nominations? And what was the intention of amendment to political parties amendment? Initially, he said the reason it was amended was to strengthen democracy and ensure that the growth of various political parties. Then why should you allow political parties to fill their nominees forward the list to IEBC, then come and withdraw some of the nominees because you are doing zoning or because you are developing strength? Then that one smart will become, with all due respect, will be a threat to democracy, because you are saying, let us build political parties. How, for example, if today DAPK, let me use DAPK for example, or TSP for example, that is under Kenya Kwanza. If today we tell them to withdraw, for example, after nomination, the way the Senator Ledama is putting across, my senior brother, is we remove a candidate, for example, of TSP, or for example, Chama Chakazi. How will you allow that political party to grow if they cannot be able to send their elected representative, for example, to parliament? And how do you ensure, you know, there is a catch that is not telling you that these guys were excited that when the sharing of political parties fund, and you know, ODM, you should ensure you give a wiper and the rest their money. How do you ensure, for example, James Smart, for example, a political party like DAPK or Chama Chakazi or TSP grow if, for example, UDA or, for example, ODM tells you withdraw their nominees, they will not go to the general election.
Right.
How will they access the political parties fund? And I think that the intention of the drafters of Political Parties Act, if for example, DAPK or Chama Chakazi or TSP, for example, as 2 members of parliament, under the new amendment, they were able to be part of the sharing of political parties fund.
Yes.
But now you will be killing by telling, for example, in Narok, If you're having in Narok a UDM senator candidate, let's assume, and I wish you well, my brother, I hope ODM will see how loyal you have been. If, for example, is given ODM Senate ticket, and then a UDM Senate ticket comes up, if you tell UDM to remove its candidate and allow Senator Ledama to face maybe Kenya Kwanza candidate or a UDA candidate, you are killing those small political parties, because the dominant political parties will be telling you don't have machinery, you don't have the right person.
We do.
Yeah, and
let me just take him back to the political parties bill that he's mentioning. And I want to give you the genesis of my argument.
Yes.
If you look at Section 2 of the Political Parties Amendment Bill,
the amended act.
The amended act.
Okay.
It actually talks about political party. It means an association of citizens with an identifiable ideology or program that is constituted for the purpose of influencing public policy or nominating candidates to contest elections, and includes a political party, a coalition political party. These are citizens who have come together. We share the same ideology. The fact that people have come together to form Azimio means that they share the same ideology. So nothing stops them sitting down and saying, we're better off this way. Meaning, we're better off either fronting two candidates to be able to contest for the gubernatorial race in Nairobi,
right,
or fronting one candidate. Nothing stops them. There's nothing undemocratic about that. It is an association of citizens who believe in certain
But why
principles.
can't we do that before the
No,
nomination?
just wait. No, listen.
I hope you will.
And I want you to be to listen carefully to what I'm saying. I'm saying an hypothetical situation would be that candidates will sit and say, we're better off this way. You ask me which would be the best. It is upon the political parties to use scientific means to be able to determine who will be able to deliver that seat for the coalition. Number two, my colleague here has mentioned something to do with the sharing of the money of the political parties' fund. That, when you look at the act itself as it is right now, it is very clear. The only time that you can be able to share that money is if you have either a governor, a member of the county assembly, a senator,
Yes.
or a member of parliament. So really, there's no way you can tell me now, because I've formed a political party and I've only sponsored MCAs, 2 or 3 of them or 5 of them,
But
then
yes,
I
you
can
understood
share
what I was
money
saying.
from the political party. So when it comes to the issues, I want us to focus on the facts here. I have no idea how much money is being withheld by any political party for any other party. What I know is that I'm focused on 2022 election. August, I want to make sure that Azimio forms the next government, and we win more seats.
What I can say before
I take the break.
you start paying the pills is that what I can say is that Senator Ledama misunderstood me. What I was arguing was simple, smart, that with all due respect, that if, for example, you have a UDM candidate, a Senate.
UDM.
I think it's part of Azimio by Ali Roba or Rioba. And ODM is the senator candidate, Narok, my brother Senator Ledama Ole Kina. And he has done a fantastic job. If ODM will not give him ticket, then it will not be well. So what I'm just saying, if today, for example, ODM approaches UDM and tells UDM, you withdraw a candidate against Ledama Ole Kina, my argument is, he has said, by allowing small parties to sprang up, we are making growth of democracy.
Right.
But if those small parties do not have, for example, elected leaders, as he has said, how will they access political parties' fund so that they are able to grow the way he has put it across? So that is only my argument. And therefore, I can tell you this is a poison chalice where there can be annihilation by dominant political parties against the small parties. By, for example, let's assume Nairobi, the Azimio as a candidate, for example,
for governor,
for example, let's assume ODM as a candidate.
Jubilee
as I think they have already.
Yes.
Then
and Jubilee as a candidate
as
well.
a candidate, for example. If Jubilee, by the way, Jubilee has been eating our money. You know, we have been paying 10,000. You know, we left Jubilee to UDA. You saw they were proposing 1 billion to fund their activities. For example, if Jubilee tells ODM you don't have enough resources to mount a serious campaign for gubernatorial position in Nairobi, and they tell ODM to withdraw their candidate. For example, if ODM will withdraw their candidate, it will mean they will be less by the representation of governors or elected leaders that they will have, that will allow them to access political parties' funds.
It has a ramification, basically.
Yes, it has a ramification, and that is my only argument. And that is why these people will not know the disadvantage of passing that law. And I'm recording on answered that even the definition that he has read by the association of people, you know, he can even come and bring some milk farmers and told them they are part of the political parties. Because an NGO, he has dealt with an NGO. I used to see him planting trees in Mao. You can bring that association and say he's under Azimio. Okay. And the law allows.
Milk farmers under Azimio.
Yes.
The problem with my colleague, which I understand, is that he never really finishes his sentences. So you really cannot follow his thoughts, because he started, Jubilee is eating our money, we pay 10,000. What are you talking about?
No, but I'm just saying, I'm building my argument.
Can we focus?
No, I'm building my argument. I don't have a problem. My argument has been, how do political parties, smaller access political parties fund if we tell them to withdraw their candidates?
I'm going to come back to that, Senator Cherargei. Senator Ole Kina, taking a short break with all due respect. When we come back, the question of small parties and who's winning the hearts and minds in this campaign. We'll come back with Senators Cherargei and Madam Ole Kina in the house.
As Dr. Funike and Mama Kayai host unscripted true-life relationship experiences on reality TV show Kupatana. Nia, Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. and Kupatana every Tuesday and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
You do your best out there. Let us do our best in here with the disinfecting power of Jake. Because Jake cleans and kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs and COVID-19 in your home. Jake, your family's guardian against germs and COVID-19.
Like every mother, I'm worried about dangerous insects, especially mosquitoes, which spread diseases like malaria to my loved ones. This year, I'm not afraid. I'm using Mortein Doom. Mortein Doom All Insect Killer provides protection in seconds. Not even a single mosquito is spared, because even one mosquito bite can cause malaria. Mortein Doom provides protection in seconds.
Nana is my name. My daughter is constantly online these days because, well, it's the new normal way for them to learn. Now, whether here at home or in school, it is important to work with them online so that you find out more about what they're looking for. Also, find out what is out there, because the things I've seen online. So for me, passwords on gadgets is a must.
Being fooled online? Get CyberSmart to enjoy safe entertainment and education online. The Communications Authority of Kenya. Mawasiliano kwetu, nguvu kwako.
The future is for these innovative, creative, dynamic, confident, and competent thinkers. At Royal Brains Executive Kindergarten and Primary School, we teach, inspire, and transform young minds to achieve their fullest potential. Our internationally qualified, experienced teachers identify, nurture, and develop each child's individual talents. Welcome to our Raka campus and also the new campus along Eastern Bypass. Enroll today at Royal Brains School Executive Kindergarten and Primary School, a unique and executive school where the future begins.
Sasa, umehakikisha SIM card yako imesajiliwa sawasawa kulingana na mwongozo wa Communications Authority. Kamilisha usajili wa SIM card yako ili laini yako isifungwe. Tembelea duka ya Safaricom, dealer au agent iliyo karibu nawe ukiwa na kitambulisho. Pia, wahudumu wa Safaricom watakupiga picha kwa usalama zaidi. Mwisho, utatia sahihi yako ili kukamilisha usajili. Tembelea duka ya Safaricom, dealer au agent, ukamilishe usajili wa laini yako.
Since the pandemic, all mums know to be cautious of the many kinds of everyday germs that spread easily. Get peace of mind and protect the ones you love with the power of Dettol Bar Soap. It cleans and protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. So no matter what type of mum you are, trust Dettol.
Dettol antibacterial soap 60 grams is now 50 shillings.
Stanbic Bank, it can be.
All right, welcome back. With all due respect, I am with Senator Cherargei and Senator Ole Kina, and we'll be discussing the question of nominations and the party nominations that are upcoming. And usually these nominations are chaotic. We've seen them being problematic. To be fair, this side of the coalition has changed many times, but ODM has been stuck with these nomination sort of problems for a very long time. From where you sit as both a member of ODM and someone who's prominent in the ODM side of things, looking at the comments, no one really has, you know, I would say confidence that ODM will manage this process and come out of it.
Let me assure our members that our political party has come of age. And this year's nomination will be free and fair. And ideally, if you were to ask me, we should avoid nominations as much as we can.
Universal suffrage.
Yes, we should use consensus. You should use opinion polls to be able to have the right candidates. Because nominations, although we have attempted to make sure that they run smoothly, with the amendment of the political parties bill, with the new act now, where it's only members of that political party who can be able to participate in the nomination, or where the coalition partners are doing a joint nomination, then members of, like for instance, Jubilee and ODM, they can be able to come together with a certified register of men, or you know, men and women who subscribe to that political party. So really this year, I believe that wherever we're going to be able to hold our nominations, we'll be able to take care of them. I want to assure members of the Azimio fraternity that our Azimio is an institution has so many cubicles inside, whereby if you don't fit in one, you can be accommodated in another one. So whoever doesn't get a ticket, you know, like let's say if Ole Kina was going in a nomination with someone else, and the people of Narok decides that he's not the right candidate for us, and they choose somebody else, if we were to have consensus, then of course whoever is defeated will be accommodated, because we want to be able to have a win-win formula for all of us.
Gentlemen, how did we end up with this shell of parties and this sort of situation where we have everyone walking in and they do an NDC with a party, but we didn't know like it's one individual and the rest are just, you know.
Are you sure you're asking that question?
I think, you know, that this...
How did you end up here?
We don't, in Africa, we don't build institutions. And that has been the problem, because when you look at the modern and established democracies, political parties are institutions that have ideological beliefs. Like, for example, where he has stayed for long in the US, when you belong to Democrats, the ideals that believes you to belong to that formation. When you belong to the Republican, it is ideology that has been ingrained. And you know the way those parties are run are institutions. I think as a country, we still have a long way to run an institutions, parties as institutions. I know, for example, here in Tanzania, they have really tried with is it Chama cha Mapinduzi? They have really tried like the one we have in China and what have you. The moment we will ensure political parties are run as institutions, number one. Number two, anyway, in Africa, we don't work with institutions, we work with individuals anyway. So number two, another issue that we'll need to look at is the ideology. Why should I belong to a particular party? Is it because somebody leading it likes me or I like that person? Right. Is it because they have the same beliefs as me? What defines that? And I think I agree with you.
Why are you in UDA, for instance? Like, give me ideology. Why are you in UDA?
The reason I'm in UDA, for example, is one, I believe he needs party leader because he
So
has
it's individual.
For example, as a party leader, we just gave him a note a few weeks ago. I believe in him because he's the best presidential candidate that will thrash the Azimio candidate in August, God willing. Number two is the ideals and principles of UDA.
I like the way he dreams.
For example, as in UDA, we are pushing a bottom-up economic model where our main agenda, including ANC and Ford Kenya, is to push for economic reforms to ensure Kenyans, the economy is fixed. Because as we talk today, the public debt is going through the roofs. Kenyans are they watch
Senator,
now as they can't even.
How will bottom-up fix these economic troubles that we're in today?
For example, as Kenya Kwanza, we want to ensure that we have a sustainable public debt because now we are paying a lot. We collect our revenue, try to pay the public debt. And I heard the president saying he's leaving the country with 13 trillion, but he's not telling the country that he's living with 3/4 that belongs.
So how
to
does
public
bottom-up
debt.
fix that?
That is why I'm saying we will need to, for example, retire expensive loans, try to improve, see loopholes of revenue collection, for example. Agree, you have seen a situation where some of the companies in this country, I can't mention names because somebody might take it out of context, or their political beliefs, is that some of the companies that we have, and some of them, the KRA has been trying to kill them in courts. So how do we get out? For example, my brother, Senator Ole Kina, might be having a small dairy farm, which of course I'm grateful because I normally get milk from there. Is, for example, if KRA today goes to Senator Ledama's dairy farm and they find out that maybe this has a small problem of ETR machine and what have you, the solution in this country for KRA is to close. But when we come in, we want to professionalize KRA where they can partner and ensure they assist a businessman like Ledama Ole Kina by complying and ensuring that they remain in business and be able to pay them. So those are some of the issues. When we talk about bottom-up economic model, I can take through you for the next 3 hours.
It doesn't sound very revolutionary, to be honest. It sounds these are governance problems that Jubilee has had since 2014, with all due respect.
Can I just
hang on to that thought? Yeah. Hang on to that thought. I'll come back to you.
I think
I have a straight question for you.
Yes.
I need you to respond to that.
And I need to respond
absolutely.
To
but the question
on dairy.
But the question. Hang on.
Then we can remain relevant.
Yes.
We can be juvenile.
It's true.
Which is which.
Okay.
It's
never that serious.
No, this is serious. This is an election. It's
very
serious.
Yes.
Yes, it's a very serious issue.
On the question of
ideology
and how how you set yourself differently from what UDA suggests to be different. What is the difference in Azimio? What is the ideology in Azimio?
No, let me put it this way. We have been through a very, very difficult time during the last 2-3 years. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of companies have closed down. In fact, here in Nairobi, if you look at one of the biggest hotels that used to bring in a lot of tax, into this country, closed down. This is the Intercontinental. This is a time when we want a government that can be able to rely on what we call demand-side economics, where the government has got to pump in a lot of resources into the economy so that you can be able to improve. If you look at our ideology as ODM, we are looking at your personal health care. We want to ensure that you are healthy enough because every citizen must be healthy to be able to be productive. We are looking at the youth. The youth in this country make up about 70% or even 80% of the population. A lot of these youth are unemployed. Our solutions to that is to be able to put money into the pocket of this youth, be able to expand more. I'll give you a practical example and real figures here. If you look at, since the advent of devolution, the amount of money that have gone into Narok County to support youth is only 5 million shillings. If you look at other counties, like let's say Nairobi, Murang'a, or even Nandi County, it's in the tone of hundreds of million shillings. We want a government that can be able to provide some form of equity, even if it is not
where do you get this money from? Hang on. We're getting there. Hang on.
So you see, in every institution, we want to be able to grow the economy by investing in that economy. If we fix healthcare, as an example, in this country, you can be able to have a much healthier population that can be able to work. We have already institutions like Uwezo Fund. We have institutions like the Youth Development Fund. We have women enterprise funds. We need to be able to invest in them, remove the hurdles of doing business, because if you now, for instance, look at the 47 counties in this country, you might find that Narok County is the best place to do business because licensing fees are not for every single thing that you do. Maybe there's only one licensing fee. So with our ideology as a country, as a political party, we want to be able to put social development first, improve social development, ensure that, number one, our political party and also our party leader is pro-development. He wants to send more money to counties. We want to be able to ensure that we can create small businesses, invest in the micro businesses, and allow them to be able to continue creating jobs.
Okay, so let's build on this. Kenya's public debt is going to hit 1.3 trillion.
Absolutely.
All right? And that surpasses our running expenses. So you're not walking into a vacuum.
I'm not
worried
about
what you're suggesting is a perfect
because
situation.
I am not
so
worried
how
about
do we
it.
fix? Hang on. How do we fix this, the public debt that we must pay? What are the ideas that you have? And I don't know where to be coming from.
There's no country that can be able to grow its economy without debt. That's one thing.
We're not talking about the debt has been taken.
If you've asked me a very straightforward question. You said, how do you intend to fix this?
Right.
You intend to fix this by, number one, our party leader intends to close all loopholes of corruption, every single loophole of corruptions. You and I know that we lose a lot of money on a daily basis because of corruption. The moment you close those loopholes, you are able to have more money to be able to settle your debt. That's number one. Number two, you also invest in your citizens. I've told you that since we are coming out of a pandemic, the only sensible thing, and this has been done worldwide, is to be able to apply demand-side economics, pump more money into the country, be ensure that the citizens of that country have money for them to be able to continue generating wealth. Number two, if you look at an institution like KRA, KRA will have to treat itself as a business partner. In any business that is owned by a Kenyan, KRA must consider itself as a 50% owner of that business. Okay. So that you are partners. The moment you are partners, you can then be able to grow the economy. Number three, I would encourage, and this is exactly what we're going to do, the government to be able to borrow more money outside than borrowing inside. Because the moment the government borrows money inside the country, then all financial institutions will be much more obliged to lend to the government because it will be more secure.
But we're in problems.
Listen,
we're in problems.
We are in problems, but we cannot share away by saying that so long as we're in problem, we cannot come up with
We have a
solutions.
7 trillion debt.
It doesn't matter.
So we need to get more debt.
Every country in this world has debt.
So your solution is to get more debt.
Every country in this world has debt. Close corruption loopholes, so you're able to increase more money. You know, Kenya has never been rated as a country which cannot be given any money because the credit rating is terrible. No, we pay our debt. The fact that we pay our debt, put proper management, and you see, you know, it is a little bit hypocritical that a lot of people only look at the national debt and they don't look at the debt which is incurred by county governments. Today, more people have been made poor by county governments. If you go, there are more pending bills, which are ridiculous, you know, of people who have not been paid. We want a government which can be able to control that. We want to be able to empower the control of budget, empower the Auditor General, so that if the executive of a county mismanage that debt, you know, they should be called to account for.
Thank you very much for that. I'm going to take a short break. I know you need to respond to this. I'm coming back to your side of the debate on the questions of debt repayment and your ideology in UDA to fix that. With all due respect, we'll be right back.
Are you probably stuck on how to start off your home ownership journey? Kwamua maono yako na Optiven. Get a piece of land at the Great Oasis Gardens Nanyuki and establish your dream home, a holiday home, an entertainment park, home for sale or for rental. Get your quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre, 5 acres and beyond. Deposit or place an installment of 590k on any of Optiven's projects and get an instant 15k cashback. Call us on 0790 300 300. Kwamua maono yako na Optiven.
our global presence, we offer world-class banking services. We support SMEs through the Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program by providing 5,000 USD seed capital and capacity building to young entrepreneurs. Apply today at www.tefconnect.net and visit any UBA bank branch to open an account today.
For that, for justice, and no one has a right to get away with impunity or corruption. Stuff like this makes me angry. So we play them against each other with money.
Apart from the video that was sent to the young man, we have nothing.
This is not good.
There's a private detective that has been alerted. Going to the police will not be a good move right now.
Make this feel like this with a few sips of this. Get going with Go Fruit Juice. Now available in 500 ml on the Go packs.
With all due respect, welcome back. Just before we take the break, we were discussing the question of public debt. And we were discussing the ideology between these two camps. Which one has the best ideas on how to fix our public debt and the economy from the hole that we're in? Senator Cherargei, the question is this. Out of every 100 shillings that Kenyans spend today, 60 of it on buying commodities, 60 of that goes to paying debt. How does the bottom-up economics fix this?
You have to appreciate that Senator Ldama have been pushing trickle-down economy for the last 50 years, and that is why in his argument, he said that one of the first agenda of Azimio government or Kuzimia government will to increase the money going to the ground. What we think is very important is to support small enterprises.
That's what I was talking about.
Support small enterprises at the village level, like Mboka, border. Number two, farmers start the national subsidy program on fertilizer. You are aware, as we talk, where I come from in Nandi County and North Rift, this is the planting season. But one bag of 50 kilos of fertilizer is retailing at 6,800. I think also Narok, they do farming, and it is biting hard. So what we are trying to do is to move from the handouts economy. Now you have heard them, they are saying they'll be giving out 6,000 to every person or every household? Those are what we need to move away from. Under the bottom-up economic plan, is to even allocate 50 billion that can be accessed at all the ward levels in the country, where those small enterprises businesses can access that loan and ensure that they are able to start a businesses. Number two, the issue of...
No, hang on. Where does
50 billion, you have heard that the president himself has said we lose 2 billion by day through corruption.
So just like them,
I have said one is to tighten the revenue collection, put in place, and you heard our presidential candidate say that we will professionalize KRA, where they will give us artifacts. KRA shall no longer be used to fight political wars. We make sure we give KRS necessary support to ensure they seal loopholes. Revenue. Seal also corruption loopholes, as my brother has said. We are also determined in sealing all loopholes, because the president of this republic, on record, and it is in the public domain, that 2 billion is being lost through graft. I remember smart, there was a time that the ambassador to Kenya, I think it was Kodek, the US ambassador, made a standing revelation that in our budget we lose more than 500 billion through corruption. It is budgeted corruption. What we're having in Kenya is what we call budgeted corruption. Number two, you have asked a question, how will we address the public debt that has grown to 7 trillion? One, you was truly, by the way, was among the 7 senators that I refuse to vote for the raising of public ceiling debt. I agree that every country, and that has been argument, by the way, I find it wishy-washy, where our Azimio colleagues have been saying, we ask them, how will you fix the public debt? They will tell you every country has a debt. But what we are talking about is sustainable public debt, because the more we pay that public debt, it means we will shrink in terms of expanding the economy, doing development projects. I agree that debt should be there. But the point is, how do we make that public debt become sustainable? And that is why we are saying, even before, because I am aware in corridors of parliament, even, you know, they take advantage when we are busy. They are likely to bring raising of public debt to 11 or 12 trillion Kenyan shillings. But how do we ensure that that becomes sustainable? By ensuring that we retire expensive loans, we ensure that we limit our borrowing as a government under Kenya Kwanza government or under UDA. Number 3 is, I've indicated earlier on, that we tighten the revenue collection. And finally is that Azimio, where my brother belongs to, should stop lying to Kenyans that an economy will be built through 6,000 handouts. It is not viable. We have, for example, Inua Jamii. Inua Jamii is where you are giving money to the vulnerable, especially the old that are 70 years plus, maybe, I think 2,000 or 3,000, the vulnerable, the OVCs. That money is already in place to the vulnerable. It doesn't mean that,
it doesn't work
you know, you will be discouraging all
it doesn't work very well. The money comes every 3 or 4
but
months.
When you stand and tell a young person who is able-bodied, has gone to school, because of only the problem is they can't access opportunity, you stand in a podium and say, from next year when I form government, I'll be giving you 6,000.
But what's the
what
problem?
Are you doing
What's the problem with the social security program, from where you see it?
But I only have a problem when it is, you want to tell people who are able-bodied, who have gone to school, who are very healthy, they're just looking for opportunity. For example, a young person or a young man who today graduated to a bachelor's degree, maybe in Moi University where I went to, the only problem is he can't get an opportunity of a job or doing business. You tell that person, I only have a problem. But if today you are giving out 6,000, for example, to maybe that mzee who is retired, who is at 70-year-old, somebody who is an orphan, somebody who is vulnerable in the society, then I would not have, but this, they are promoting what we call handouts economy. And that is what they have been accusing us by saying, we are giving handouts, yet they want now to institutionalize the issuance of 6,000. So I think the trickle-down economy that, you know, they started with rural economy, they have been arguing, by the way, the BBI, as I conclude, let me conclude this. So the BBI, for example, under BBI, they argued, they told us, you pass BBI because we'll ensure that 35% goes to the ground. We have already indicated that at least 15%, and the Constitution has provided under Article 210 as it is now, you can allocate more to the support the devolution agenda in the country. And this is, by the way, I have heard, and I think Senator Adama and his colleagues in rallies have been misleading Kenyans.
Okay.
They are not telling Kenyans that devolution is enshrined in the Constitution. No one, whoever becomes a president, cannot erase the role of devolution in Kenya.
Smart, I believe in a system, or rather in a government that invests in its citizens. My colleague here is trying to rubbish our 6,000 shillings pledge to support those people who do not have any source of income. Let me demonstrate to him, you know, with simple mathematics, what that 6,000 shillings can do to someone who does not have any source of income.
Go for it.
And who are they?
If once there's a social system, a program that has been put in place, 6,000 times 12, that is 1 year, is about 72,000 shillings.
Right.
If I have a statement that shows that I can be able to qualify for 72,000 shillings, I can walk into a manufacturing sector, buy a motorbike, you know, put that as collateral to say that the government is investing in me. Use that to transport. In that manufacturing sector, I can either buy a motorbike with 72,000 shillings and I pay it on a monthly basis. And because we are growing the economy, there's a lot of constructions coming up, I can even use the 6,000 shillings, buy unga, buy cooking oil, make mandazi, go sell. And by doing that, I'll be creating wealth because I'll be employed. And I'll make some money that can be able to help me pay school fees for my children. My government, or rather our government, in terms of our ideas, is to be able to invest in education. You know, our party leader has pledged to be able to ensure that no child will be left behind. Every child will get access to education.
All right.
So if I'm able to invest in that citizen and support that citizen, get free education, then help the parents be able to, I will not have to drag it for more than 1 year.
Just walk me through. This 6,000, how many people are you going to give?
You see, in every county, as an example, there are statistics. We have the Kenya Bureau of Statistics that can give you statistics of people who are very, very vulnerable and poor. You know, you've got to invest in these people. It's a social program. So you're not just going to take 6,000 shillings and dump it in. You will call these people because you want to be able to graduate those people. Once someone has been able to take this money for a particular period of time, created a small business, and they can now be able to support their own small families, then you move to the other group of people. Because every day we have more people who become poorer because of the challenges of this economy.
Okay.
You know? So really, I had my friend talking about agriculture. You know? In fact, they do not have a plan. In fact, if you go back to history, you know the good thing about this country is that you cannot erase a digital print. If you go back to history, his party leader, when he was the Ministry of Agriculture, is the one who destroyed the agricultural sector. If you look at now
How did he do that?
I mean, look at all the scandals in the maize sector when he was the Minister of Agriculture. You know where a few individuals were paid for things that they did not deliver. So of course you kill a sector. Number two, if you're asking me why fertilizer is so expensive, it's because of those kind of unscrupulous individuals who want to be able to meddle in every small different project that is brought by the government. No, listen, I listen to him, so I have to finish. Now, when you look at even Mudavadi, who has now teamed up with him, this country, you know, the most debt in this country was accrued when he was a Minister for Finance. Look at all the scandals we had in this country. So really, we cannot erase the digital print. We cannot erase history. History is there to judge us. So we're telling Kenyans that we have a solution. The solution we have now is to be able to close all those loopholes of those corruption, is to be able to invest in you, invest in your healthcare, so we'll have healthy citizens. James Smart, you cannot come here looking smart and working in this station if your health is in jeopardy. So what we are offering with Babacare is to ensure that you, James Smart, can also, the kind of insurance that you have, someone who is in the rural area can also get that insurance.
So I qualify for the
Of course.
6,000?
No, you don't, because you work. Don't be lazy. You're being paid a salary. Come on.
Okay, great.
Two things that I want to put across.
Yes, as you point out.
Yes, I will. One is that on the issue of agriculture, Senator Ledamo Ole Kina should know that when William Ruto was the Minister of Agriculture, the 50-kilo bag of fertilizer was 1,500. Under the handshake government, where his party leader, with the brother Uhuru Kenyatta, it has jumped from 2,500 when William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta were in the first term of Jubilee to 6,800. Number two,
but Senator, he's still the deputy president.
But you have had the president himself has accepted, my brother.
Okay, go on with your point.
The president has accepted that they no longer work with the deputy. And they was assigned to other. Quick point. Issue of help, Higher Education's Loan Board. Right. Because he has been highlighting what the Azimio will do. Under the Kenya Kwanza, Higher Education's Loan Board shall no longer be a loan but a grant. Because you remember, for us who went to university, I don't know how, maybe he was lucky enough and he came from privileged background, but for us who relied on help, we are still paying that loan, but we are telling if
you're earning a salary, pay it.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, that in fact, the same Kenyans that wants to give 6,000, most of them have help loan. But we are saying that help loan will be no longer a loan; it will be a grant. Finally, on the issue of health, under Kenya Kwanza, we are going to look at universal. Let me finish.
Because they have no plan.
Senator Ledama was calm.
Finish your point.
Under the Kenya Kwanza, we are saying that people who, for example, me and Ledama, pay the same amount, just like somebody who is paying 10,000 to NHIF. What we are saying is that when you earn more, you pay more for NHIF, so that the coverage under universal health coverage should accrue to more Kenyans. Where when you have a card, now, for example, if you had even at that time, and you know it's unfortunate that some of the partners of Azimio who are campaigning now were even the representative of Kotu, like Atwali, who objected that by saying if a senator is earning 500,000, then they are paying the same as a salary employee of a Tigal or a Tibo here, who gets maybe, for example, let me use an example of 10,000. So those are things that we need to fix so that we can create the issue of universal health care. On the issue of agriculture, apart from National Fertilizer Subsidy Program, we'll be looking at what you call guarantee minimum returns, especially to farmers, where we agree that they are setting pricing. You know the problem where I come from, because we are largely farmers, is you find during the season when we have what we call milk glut, you find a liter of milk comes maybe it was 20 shillings, but during the dry season where it goes up to 35 shillings. How do you ensure that there is minimum guarantee returns?
Okay.
And that has been put under the Kenya Kwanza government. And I want to ask Senator Ledamo Ole Kina, they don't have a solid plan.
No,
their only solid plan is to give Kenyans 6,000 handouts. And by the way, to finish, so that he answers both, when you ask him, who are you giving this 6,000? He said, we know some people who are, we have statistics who are poor. But when the party leader speaks, he says, every Kenyan who does not have a job will be given 6,000.
Okay.
But he's saying they're using statistics of poverty.
Let him respond.
Let me be very clear. Azimio has clearly shown under the leadership of Raila Amolo Odinga that we do have a healthcare plan. It is very, very clear. If I fall sick right now, the kind of insurance that I have as a member of parliament is what I want as a small Kiprotich or Ledama or Masiyo or whoever who lives in the rural area to be able to access it.
Right.
That is what Babacare is all about. And then the other most important thing in terms of creating jobs in this country, Raila Amolo Odinga has clearly demystified the issue of manufacturing. He has clearly indicated that every county will invest in one industry. If you look at Narok as an example, there's no reason as to why I should be paying a kilo of tomahawk steak 2,000 shillings here, and when they buy it in Narok, it's 350 shillings. We want to make sure that we invest in that economy so that if it is 2,000 shillings, the farmers of Narok sell it as 2,000 shillings. So ours is a very clear strategy. We have a clear plan. Our clear plan, and I will summarize it, is number one, when it comes to the issue of Babacare, we want to make sure that the health care that Ledamo Ole Kina gets is what one Omondi or Cherargei or Kamau or whoever will be able to get. Now, let me finish. Number two, we want to make sure that every child in this country has got access to good good education.
Right.
You know, there's no point of saying that we are building schools and we leave all the money in Nairobi. We want to make sure that all the money goes in there.
Okay.
Number three,
in
the agricultural sector, which is very, very important, is that we are making sure that we're investing in the infrastructure development. If you go to Narok as an example, if you go to a place called Oloropil or you go to Olokurto, the roads are dilapidated. So with our sector, we want to make sure that we can be able to put better roads there, because that economy can be able to sustain
roads under
itself.
county government.
You know?
So
So really,
under CBC, under Kenya Kwanza will scrap CBC, by the way, and return to 844 system.
Okay, that's
because
new.
It's
I did not hear that. I did not hear that.
No, the CBC, under CBC, the curriculum based.
They don't have a plan.
We have
It's
said
that
we
clear.
will.
They have
No. Can you allow me to finish?
Cherargei, what's your camera? 30 seconds. Why is your candidate the best one to take this country forward? 30 seconds as you make your final remarks.
I didn't know this show would come to an but what I believe is that...
yeah, the show comes to an end. With all due respect, I'm sorry. But
no, I thought you are raising very critical, but let me finish by saying Dr. William Ruto, who is the presidential candidate of UDA, has a track record, is tried and tested. Since he was a member of parliament for the last 15 years, he has been a deputy president. He knows how government works. He knows what needs to be done in this country. And one of the biggest agenda for him and us under Kenya Kwanza is to fix the economy. Unlike his opponent, Raila Odinga, has been more of an opposition chief. So we would want to relegate him to continue doing what he knows best. He knows best to oppose and to be opposition and to fight for other issues. But William Ruto himself knows how government functions. We want to fix the economy. We want to ensure the dignity of work is respected. That person who is on a border and somebody like me who is in office or like you, they must be respected by ensuring that opportunities belong to all of us. And God willing, in August, we shall be able to form a Kenya Kwanza government. And after the Kenya Kwanza government forms government, William Ruto will invite Raila Odinga for another handshake, and the country moves on.
Same question. That's your
Right?
camera. 30 seconds. Why is your candidate the best one to take this country?
Raila Odinga has a solid plan for this country. He has fought for devolution. He is a father of democracy in this country. The rights that we are enjoying right now is the one who fought so hard for us to continue enjoying them. When you look at the healthcare, Raila has a solid plan to be able to improve on your healthcare. Most people in this country cannot afford healthcare. It is very expensive. He has a solid plan to be able to improve that. He has a solid plan to be able to uplift the standard of living of our youth, who currently live very, very dilapidated lifestyles. he has a plan to be able to end corruption in this country. Raila Odinga is not corrupt. Raila Odinga does not care about how much money you have. All he cares is your social being. He wants to make sure that every Kenyan can proudly stand and say, I'm Kenyan. Okay. Right now, the way we are, a lot of people are running out of this country. They're going as economic refugees to other countries. Raila Odinga wants to invite all these people to be able to come here and help build this country. He believes in Kenya Kwanza. You know, as a citizen, you become a Kenyan. He doesn't. I'm not saying. I'm not talking about him as Kenya Kwanza or whatever. He believes in you being a Kenyan first. Yes. Right. Okay. We're miming him Kenya. Yes. He's a true Kenyan, so he believes in that, and he's a true Democrat.
Okay.
You didn't allow us to send our greetings to our county. But you know, nomination is coming up on 14th. Okay.
But you have a direct ticket.
No, I don't have a direct ticket. It's good, to be honest. Is that it is good
you
have
not
invited.
A tribalist. That's what I was saying.
No,
He's not a tribalist.
No,
like
let me just a few seconds, because
yes,
nominations are coming on 14th April. In the next 2 weeks,
the people of Nandi should.
I'll be defending my seat for the Senate under United Democratic Alliance. And I've worked very hard. You remember we were with him in Division of Revenue. Okay. We have ensured that the interest of the people of Nandi are fought. So, God willing, the people of Nandi should continue supporting me through the nomination process, so that I become a nominee of UDA and be able to also elected as the UDA senator and to continue serving the people of Nandi.
I have to give you 10 seconds. Yes.
Well, I just want to ask Kenyans to think seriously about the kind of country that we want, and I would really plead to all Kenyans to vote for Azimio. Azimio all the way. President, governor, senator, MPs, and all MCAs. We want to be able to have a country that unites all of us. Raila Amolo Odinga believes in you being a Kenyan. He does not believe in tribalism. You know, in fact, sometimes when I tell him, oh, Masai, he says, no, we are Kenyans. Okay. And I think that's what we want to be able to encourage our people to continue thinking. And I think, and I believe that Raila Amolo Odinga will become president. I'll still maintain and I'll still run for my, defend my senatorial seat. And I know in Narrow County. Right. And to continue doing what I've been doing for my people.
Okay. Senator Samson Cherargei, Nandi County, wish you well in the nomination.
Thank you.
I hope you come through. And Senator Ole Kina, Narrow County, we wish you also very well. Gentlemen, we'll see you again. Thank you very much for your very candid and openness and very civil discussion, with all due respect.
We are mature people.
Yes. Absolutely. We do this every week, every Tuesday, at this time on this station. My name is James Smart. Please do have a lovely night.
Last time I was here, we were talking.